My favorite thing about Shipt since I signed up for Target Circle 360? No price markups when I order same-day delivery from tons of local stores. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. I won't lie, I've had too much fun being like, markups on groceries? Not in my fridge. Markups on pet food? Not for my DOG. Markups on tools, electronics, home goods, meds? Not in my house. Anyway, it's awesome. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
Imagine this. The best pasta sauce you have ever tasted sits abandoned on a plate. Wasted sauce. That is a tragedy. If only you had used Barilla al Bronzo pasta. Its bronze-cut texture holds your sauce and scoops up every last drop. The Italians call that scarpetta. Capture sauce the Italian way. Barilla al Bronzo. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Welcome to Speak. I'm Joy Taylor, here with Super Bowl champion Keyshawn Johnson, NBA Finals MVP Paul Pierce, and Fox Sports senior NBA analyst Rick Bucher. NBA draft last night.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a challenging show today.
Yeah. You're anticipating.
Why are you wearing your Harry Carey glasses?
These is Gazelles.
These
Gazelles. You know what I'm saying? These I got to put you on, Rick.
Bring them back to the 80s.
Yeah, you know, these the 80s glasses.
Okay.
You should know about this.
Okay.
You was about 30. You know what I'm saying?
We started already. I told you it was going to be a challenging show.
You started it. You started, though.
You came out swinging.
Yeah. Figured it was going to happen. I might as well throw the first punch.
All right, NBA draft last night. The Mavs drafted Cooper Flagg, #1 overall, with the hopes that the young Duke star can help Nico Harrison and company turn the page on a pretty ugly season in Dallas. Flagg averaged 19.7 rebounds and 4 assists a game at Duke and spoke about what kind of impact he wants to have on the Mavericks. Let's take a listen.
My mindset has always been to be a winner. So I'm gonna try and win, as hard as I can anywhere I go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being successful and winning a lot of games for sure. And I'm really excited. I think I keep saying I'm excited to be a sponge, to get down there and just learn, be surrounded by Hall of Fame caliber guys, and just to be able to learn from them. It's going to be an incredible experience. I feel so blessed, to be in the position I am.
So, Paul, what are your expectations for Cooper in Dallas?
You know what? I have very high expectations for Cooper Flagg. Because think about this. Ever since, I've watched him since he was in AAU basketball, probably since the 10th grade. He's lived up to expectations everywhere he's gone. Mm-hmm. Every level. High school, top player. Duke, college, top player. And his game, it translates. You know what I'm saying? It's not one certain skill set that I can say he's like better than the other, because I think he does everything pretty much well. He shoots the ball. He's great at defense. He can slash. He can come off the pick and roll. He can make plays. He's a lob threat. He's athletic. Man, sky's the limit for this kid. So whatever role he plays in the Dallas, he will thrive in it. So in saying all of that, my expectations for him, I think he's a lock for Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to help Dallas push for a playoff spot. And his ceiling as a rookie, he can actually be an all-star his rookie year. That's how good this kid is, because if he's pushing the Dallas Mavericks in the playoffs, him and Anthony Davis are going to be a big part of that. And I think with his skill set, he'll become a fan favorite. He'll become Dallas's very own, somebody they can cuddle since the loss of Luka. And that can push him into the bright lights. So I've loved what he's done up until this point. Now he gets to prove it on the big stage. And so I have high hopes and expectations for Cooper Flagg.
He'll hit the ground running because it's the right fit for him, right? Paul mentioned playoff spot, all-star at the same time. So that means that they're probably going to get into the playoffs. If he becomes an all-star, you got Anthony Davis, who'll most likely be an all-star. Yep. And then once they get Kyrie back, who will be a second-half all-star, now you got 3 all-star players on the team. That's playoffs right there. That should be the playoffs immediately. You know what he's capable of doing. He's been doing it, like Paul said, his entire career. No matter what level, he's been the guy at every single level. Now, because it's the NBA, is a little bit of a learning curve. But as I said yesterday, just watching him in the summer play against Team USA last summer and do what he did against them, those are all NBA All-Star, future Hall of Fame type players. And for him to be able to get buckets and do the things he did against them, imagine the assault that he could potentially have on the rest of the league as a rookie. And he's going to learn. He got a great coach in Jason Kidd right there. He's got great mentors in terms of players that'll be there. They'll eventually sign somebody at the point guard position, whether it's D'Angelo Russell or Chris Paul. Somebody will be there as a veteran that he could still learn under until Kyrie comes back. So for him, Rookie of the Year, the ceiling's way up there, though. I mean, it'll be interesting to see him on the floor. I'm excited to see him, and I'm never excited about the Dallas Mavericks.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't win Rookie of the Year, for sure. And I do believe that because he has the capability, unlike a lot of number one picks and top rookies, he has the ability to play off the ball. And so I think that he'll fit well and he'll be able to come in right away and have an impact. I don't know that the numbers are going to be big in any one category. I could see him filling a box score and having numbers in a lot of different categories, but not necessarily 20 and 12, right? But I do.
What are good numbers for a rookie?
Chet Holmgren was 16 and 8, and for the better part of the year before Wemby came on at the end, people were talking about Chet as being a Rookie of the Year candidate. So if he was averaging, I don't know. The difficulty is that you do have AD there. Depending on who the point guard is, D'Angelo Russell is going to take up shots and points if he's there. Chris Paul less so. I'm not really worried about that. I think, honestly, defense is probably going to be his calling card. How hard he plays, and at the defensive end, I think he's going to be surprisingly good for a rookie because that's usually where the learning curve is. So I don't want to put necessarily numbers on it or some big expectation because I think a lot of it has to do with how good the Dallas Mavericks are collectively.
He has a great motor.
He has a great motor, which
A great motor?
Great motor.
First one in, last one out.
Is that a shot at you?
No.
Joy?
No. He's just a smart player. He knows how to play.
Okay. Got it. Now, All-Star, the thing is, if they have an All-Star, AD gets first cut, right?
Yeah. Oh, he'll get, for sure.
And are the Dallas Mavericks going to be so good that they'll warrant having 2 All-Stars? That would be the question. And they generally don't give All-Star to rookies. So I think that's setting the bar a little high for him. But other than that, Rookie of the Year and being a contributor and possibly making them not only a playoff team, but I think depending on when Kyrie comes back, a dark horse contender. I think that's all a possibility. I love his attitude. I love his
attitude. No, I'm just saying, I like what you're saying.
His motor, his attitude.
I like what Rick is saying.
Energy.
Go ahead, high energy. Go ahead, Rick.
He's been this way his entire career. Go ahead, Rick.
You said it.
Yeah, I did.
Go ahead.
Joy, help me out here.
He said he wants to be a sponge. I like that.
Sponge. Yeah. Very smart.
No, I do.
You guys are so bad.
Great basketball IQ.
He's a great player. He's a great player. I do hesitate to get too crazy with the expectations of such a young player in the NBA. When we forget that they are so young going into the NBA.
19.
But he's
18.
Yeah,
but he's one of the.
Hadn't even turned 19 yet.
But he's one of them 18, 19-year-old kids that seem to be different, though.
No, for sure. I think he's going to be a tremendous player.
He's very mature.
He's
very mature. Played a lot of basketball. Yeah, he's played a lot of basketball, Joy.
It took me a second, but I'm there with you now.
Very coachable. He went to Duke. Right.
He's still 18. So, Paul, you were how old when you came into the league?
I was 20.
So,
yeah.
I always say this with NBA players, particularly right now because they are so young coming into the league, that the development in your body as an 18-year-old man to a 20, 21-year-old man is dramatic.
Yeah.
And we talk about the, guys with the beards in the NFL and the trucks and the the car seats in the back, but the NBA has that too. Yes. There's just a difference in your body and the physicality of playing at an NBA level.
Yeah.
And obviously you're adding a tremendous amount of a longer season as well.
Yeah. But even more so, I think, with basketball, because you can come in at 18, 19.
Right.
And you really can't do that in football.
Man, that's a great point.
You don't.
Because I was ready to come out of the NBA. I could have got drafted after my freshman year. I was 18. But the reason I didn't, I just said, I'm physically not ready.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed to get back in the program, get stronger and all of that. That's why I stayed a couple more years. Because mentally and physically, I wasn't there.
Yeah. But he seems to.
But he's there. But the players now are more
mature beyond his years.
Yeah, and mentally, I'm not concerned about that, and physically, I'm not really either. I just think that Rookie of the Year is a welcome expectation for a player of his caliber. I think we're also kind of skewing the situation a bit because we have expectations of Dallas because of the roster, the coaching, and what they've done over the past couple years with Luka, and now adding him into that scenario and situation, we're raising the expectations for him. I think he's going to have an impact, but to say that he is going to be or should have the responsibility as an 18, 19-year-old to come into the Dallas Mavericks and push them into contention, that's a heavy cross to bear.
No, I think he can contribute. And I think because he can fit with those other guys and contribute is what I like about him giving them a boost. Because here's the other part. It's not just like they have a big three with Kyrie, AD, and Coop. It's you got PJ Washington, who is a good player. The Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford combination at 5. Klay Thompson coming off the bench.
This is the thing about those players you talk about. They're like.
Forgot about Klay.
They're like they need a conductor
at this point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're like the band that needs a conductor. Those players. You know, and that make.
Do you think that's him?
He might be pushed in that position.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Early.
Okay.
Because think about Klay and think about Lively. Their games. Like Klay's a catch and shoot guy. He doesn't use a lot of dribbles. Lively's a lob threat. Like they need somebody to kind of set them up.
See, that's why I think that's why I prefer Chris Paul over D'Angelo Russell for them.
I would agree. But do you think he has the playmaking?
He's shown that ability. Did you watch my segment yesterday when I showed his playmaking? I mean, are you paying attention when we come on the set and do these things, Rick?
I don't think I was on for that segment. I may have been out getting something.
He has that thing that surprised me was his playmaking ability, to where he came off the pick and roll, threw lobs, found guys, threw around the back. Like, he got that. I didn't, that was the thing that shocked me, though. That's why I say he can get put in that role early to where you see in his intangibles, which, a lot of people who didn't watch college say they didn't know he can do all of that. And without Kyrie, without like a starting point guard, like you'll have some guys fill in that spot, but probably aren't really starting point. Like maybe I think Exum is still on the roster.
That's what I'm saying. That's why the CP3 thing makes a lot of sense.
But he can be given a lot of responsibility to where he can really show his game on a veteran team early.
Yeah.
Well, earlier today, Rick gave his NBA comp for Cooper Flagg, and it was Paul's former teammate, Kevin Garnett.
It was one of.
One of. Okay, sorry. One of the comps. Would you like to amend the comp?
No, I want to hear it all.
Yeah, no, we'll go with what I gave this morning. I'm going to do a podcast later that will give a whole different take on this. Why I struggled.
Rick's not going to give us good content. It's fine. Fine, Rick. Whatever.
I'm going to
save it for everyone else.
I'm going to amplify. But this was a challenge. What?
You're scared of something.
Yeah, because it's really hard for me to put a finger on who Cooper is.
But you did it this morning.
And he played with one of the guys that I used as a ceiling. So right now, yes, I said coming into this show it was going to be a challenge, and this is why, because I don't know what's coming back from the other side. Well, so let's bring it.
I mean, like I like to give comps like real comps. Like that's kind of comparable, like Cooper.
As opposed to the comps.
Exactly, that ain't real. Subliminal message right there.
We're talking about like salmon and branzino. It's two different fishes. You know what I'm saying? So,
I hear you with the culinary skills.
Cooper, I want to.
Bobby Flay.
I want to compare him to guys that are similar in size, similar in game. Now I think you kind of compared them in like similarities in like the motor, like. Probably one of the
motor playmaking, because I don't know if you noticed, but he's a better playmaker than you realized.
No, but look, like that's why if you had been listening once again when I gave him the comparison to Karolinko, which is kind of similarity. Like, what did you say?
You're not the fun teacher anymore, by the way. I'm getting reprimanded.
Think about this.
Were you paying attention in class?
So listen, I do pay attention to what you say, though. You said earlier, and what you said his game was going to be was what? He'll be numbers-wise, everything across the board. So who was my comparison? Andre Karolinko, right?
Yeah, that's not a very good That's not a very good comp.
Oh, so you saying Andre Karolinko wasn't that guy that put up numbers across the board?
He wasn't the playmaker that Coop is.
Listen, I looked up and I saw games with Karolinko, 14 points, 12 rebounds, 5 steals, 5 assists, 5 blocks. That sound like something Cooper Flagg can give you?
Yes.
That's my comparable. You know, so it makes more sense. A guy who is his size, same build, yeah, of course he didn't have the playmaking skills. And you were kind of like, didn't know Cooper had these kind of playmaking skills.
Who is this individual? What's the individual's name that you compared him to this morning? Because you guys are just talking.
The ceiling I said was Kevin Garnett.
So KG's
the basement
rookie
I said
season, he averaged 10 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists. He finished 6th.
KG?
Yeah.
So that's.
But KG is also 6'11", 240.
No,
Yeah, he was
KG's
7 feet.
7 feet.
Like, they play a different position.
Cooper.
That's why I said, I can
And
understand.
Cooper, he prefers 6'11". And Cooper is
6'8".
6'9", 205 pounds.
Yeah,
So he'll gain some weight. He'll put on
but
weight.
he's not going to grow. And he's not going to play the same position. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be more perimeter-based. Whereas, KG...
But KG played a lot of high post.
Yeah, but that's not Cooper. He's going to be on the perimeter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a different game,
So-
too.
So that's why I said,
so who was your other comp?
So the basement was Lamar Odom. The ceiling was Kevin Garnett. And the most likely was Blake Griffin, not when he came into the league, but Blake Griffin from Detroit Pistons.
You are just destroying his comps.
Hold on. Detroit Pistons on because as a playmaking forward, as a guy that you could play through, that's the difficulty I had is
Did you get your comp
finding
from ChatGPT? That's that what they said?
Catching strays, man.
That is tough.
I'm just trying to see. I
That
told
was
you, Rick,
tough.
Saturday at 10 o'clock, you know where to be, right?
So I have.
That's
so,
why I'm giving out my
KG
hot
thing.
takes.
So my new parameters: Bam Adebayo as the ceiling. Sean Marion is another one that I had.
That's actually a good one.
Oh, thank you.
That was a good because I
Thank you.
thought that too.
But
Oh, that's why it's a good
but Sean
That's a
is.
good one.
I think Sean's more athletic, and I don't know if he's the playmaker that.
yeah, but he
Cooper
had a
is.
lot of. They have a lot of the same kind of intent.
I agree.
Like if you're missing one thing, okay, but if you got like 3 or 4 different things, that's a good comparable.
Okay. Well, you don't. You
The KG
disagree.
thing
You
is
disagree
crazy,
with the late career Blake as a comparison, the way he played.
I just think like I want to compare Cooper to more of a guy who had like a motor.
Blake didn't have a
IQ.
motor.
Blake was a dunker.
Blake didn't play with the defensive tenacity that Cooper Flagg plays
I think
with.
later he did because he couldn't jump out of the gym. He wasn't the same offensive guy. And he's not Cooper's not a shot blocker.
Blake is in another kind of category.
Okay. What about the Bam? What about the Bam ceiling? Because I think they're both high motor,
Yeah, Bam
not really
is-
shot blockers.
I can see
Second,
some
number
Bam.
twos offensively.
Yeah, I can see some Bam. I can see that. That's a good one.
What's wrong with the guy that played
Blake
in
was
Dallas?
26-5.
As a
Dirk?
rookie.
I don't think he's a shooter like that.
With the Pistons.
You don't think he is?
I don't think Cooper is the shooter that Dirk was. Dirk was elite as a shooter.
No. Like this guy, his role, because he can play a role. I'm not sure if he can be a superstar.
Yeah, I don't think he can be the number one. I think he'd be a really good number two.
Yeah, and that's why I gave him Karolinko without the play. You know, he has more playmaking. But listen, he can do it all. And if he gets in the right system, the right coaching, that's going to put a battery in his back, and it's going to be like, hey, go ahead and do you, young fella. He could become a superstar. You know, listen, you're like, you know, he's the first white number 1 draft pick since '77. Did you know that?
American?
American white. Did you know that?
did not know
ancestral
that.
white. There's a difference.
Not ancestral white.
Not as right.
Yeah. Ken Benson in 1977.
Wow.
Kent Benson, 1977.
Wow.
You covered him?
what
Did
do you
cover
think
him?
of- what do you-
Did you cover him or did y'all grow up together?
You covered Kent Benson, didn't you?
I covered his lookalike, Adam Keefe.
Adam Keefe.
How do you like that for a name?
Man.
My one concern in the comps is his athleticism.
I think he's like you see how athletic he is. Think about this.
But he looks athletic at the college level.
All right, listen to this. Listen, I've watched like players grow. I saw Vince in high school, right? Mm-hmm. Super athletic.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, Vince got more athletic.
Okay.
When he like about 5th, 6th year in the league.
Yeah.
He got like the players
took
who
another
athletic,
jump.
He hit another level. I was at my athletic peak probably like when I turned 29.
But that's what I'm saying. Like these players are so young.
Yeah.
Like, his body is going to change dramatically in the next 3 years.
Yeah.
He's going to put on more muscle.
Yeah.
He's going to
But again, that's
be
what-
stronger. He will likely be quicker because of the strength that he's going to put on.
Right.
The anticipation that he will be able to develop from being at the NBA level. Like the body control that he'll have from training up
Right.
against NBA players. The jump that these players take from 18 to like 21 is so dramatic.
Right. Yeah.
They visibly look like different players.
The other part that I was trying to capture I think he has an element of nasty and grit to him right from the start.
Pretty player.
No, I didn't say nothing. I'm just listening to you.
No.
Oh.
Joy had
What do we got?
Joy had a smile at the end of
We have
that.
to
She
add
tapped
grit.
that with a smile.
Add grit to his
Said it all.
intangibles.
Grit,
Coachable.
coach,
Sponge.
sponge.
Why don't we just hold that up?
He shows great morale.
Just hold that up.
Great team morale.
This is what we're
Great
talking
team
about.
morale. He rallies
Yes,
his
y'all crazy, man.
Heavy player.
Heady.
I hope the audience knows where we're going with all this.
this is the most complete player we didn't see come in quite some time. No, seriously though. No, seriously, think about it. Like we saw Wembanyama come in.
You don't think Luka was a complete player?
He's still number one pick.
Number one.
You know, we seen Zion come in. He still has some things to work on. Like as the number one pick in a while, this is like the most complete player that I've seen in quite some time
He has
at the number one
He has
pick.
a great base.
Absolutely.
Some of those players that have come in have been very obviously raw.
Right. And so like him, he's close to a finished product as far as his game. He just got to sharpen his tools, and then once you start hitting consistency, that's when you become great. When you're doing something very consistent night in and night out, where you're giving me the same product on the floor, and it's high level.
I get the feeling we're trending toward that. It used to be teams picked projects, picked physical, like they got the physical tools to be freakish, but need to be refined. And now I think we're shifting back toward we want basketball players.
It's not that we shifted back toward that because he still was a freshman coming out. Mm-hmm. You know, and then
but he's got more. He's got a surprisingly complete game for a freshman.
It's a surprisingly complete game as for a freshman. Because most of the young guys we picked them off the potential. Mm-hmm. They still had a lot of things to work on. Where his game is really defined right now.
Yep.
Will the Mavs be title contenders next season with Cooper Flagg?
It all depends on when Kyrie comes back, and what he's like when he does come back. I have them as long shot contenders, but I have them in the mix. I have OKC as the reigning threat in the Western Conference to go back. I have Denver right behind them as the biggest threat to not allowing that to happen. And then I have Minnesota, Dallas, Houston. Like I got a group behind those two, but I want to put Dallas in there.
No, I'm not going to say Lakers. Why would I say Lakers? No, definitely Dallas has an opportunity to contend.
You think that Dallas has a better opportunity than the Lakers right now?
I do, because right now we got to try to figure it out. They got theirs figured out.
Damn.
This is the most sober Keyshawn I have ever
What do you mean?
heard. No,
Look, check this out.
reality is struck hard in LA.
But you gotta be real.
Have a better chance right now than Dallas.
No, here's why you think
reality struck hard right here.
Here's why you think that,
I'm
though,
not a
because they
Lakers
got
fan.
two major stars, and that's it. And then if you want to, Austin Reeves, if you want to throw that in there, you know, as
You're really
as
off
a guy.
of Austin, aren't you?
Huh?
You really come off of Austin.
No, I haven't come off of him, but if we could throw him in a package to get something that we need, bye, see you later. But yes, because much like Rick stole my notes on the Kyrie situation when he comes back, maybe in January off that injury, you still got P.J. Washington, you still got Lively Gafford, you got A.D. Let's not act like A.D. If he stays healthy, it's always an if, right? Because you don't know what you're going to get night in and night out, if he's going to show up and not show up. But when he's on the floor, dude's a hell of a player, right? Obviously. And so now you add this young man to the equation and you go get you a Chris Paul, so to speak, at the guard spot. Because when you think about it, when they made that trade for Luka to AD, Kyrie got hurt.
Right.
If Kyrie was there, we don't know what Dallas would have turned out to be.
AD got hurt.
And then AD got hurt the next game.
He got hurt 2 quarters in.
Yeah, 2 quarters in.
20 after Luka got traded.
So now you think about it, if they stayed healthy, where would they have been? Now you add this kid, and I keep forgetting Klay Thompson is there, no matter what we think about his age, he still understands how to win and win big and be a major contributor. And so I think they have a chance. And it ain't nothing, I'm not off the Lakers, we're not finished yet. We got some stuff to do.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, they're not a contender, not right now. Like, they're a playoff threat. And like I said earlier, they need a conductor. You know what I'm saying? They don't have nobody to direct them. Like, they have all these other pieces, but they need, like, Chris Paul is not a bad look.
I was about to ask you what you think about that.
No, that's actually...
Versus I don't want D'Angelo. He's going to bounce the air out of the ball. I don't want that.
Yeah, like, Chris Paul, if he can... like, high IQ... I mean, you seen what Chris Paul did for Oklahoma City. I seen what Chris Paul did for San Antonio, them young fellas.
And he gonna be tough. You know he gonna be tough on them.
You know, if he could give you a good 24 minutes and you can use the other guys for backup, it can work. Mm-hmm. You know, but you need somebody to
yeah.
Is that what
make
they
it
do?
all. The conductor. Ain't that what he is? The conductor.
He's a conductor.
Yes. They don't have that yet. But like Cooper Flagg, he's good, but he's not ready to be that yet. Right out the gate. Like, you know, Anthony Davis needs somebody to, like, get him in his spots. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Lolly, Gafford, P.J. Washington. These guys are catching Klay Thompson. They just need that conductor. They're a piece away, and Kyrie is that guy. You know, even when Kyrie comes back, I still like Kyrie off the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, because that's when he's been at his best, when he's won.
Yeah. More of a 2 than a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another draftee from last night. Ace Bailey was taken 5th overall by the Jazz after a tumultuous pre-draft process that might have contributed to him falling 2 spots from a projected top 3 overall pick in terms of talent. Bailey was the only American player that hadn't conducted a single pre-draft workout and said he was surprised the Jazz picked him. Let's take a listen.
Had you had any idea they had any interest in you?
No idea. I can control what I control, so how they feel. But to my team and me, me focusing on the basketball and them doing what they're doing, so it happens.
What do you make of the Jazz taking Ace Bailey?
Well, first off, I want to go talk about the kid's suit. I like the suit. It was looking real spliff. The hat to the side, I guess that's what they call swag these days, or, you know, that motion, having that motion. But I like what the Jazz did. They picked the best available player because, to me, I think he has the biggest upside of all the players in the draft. He has superstar potential, I believe. And I think that Utah Jazz, see, this is the thing about Utah. They got to build through the draft because no free agents is really going to Utah. So whenever Utah has been good and been a playoff threat or contender, it's because of the draft picks they've grown with. You know, when they had Darren Williams, then they traded for Carlos Boozer. Do I believe they traded for Carlos Boozer, or did he start there?
He signed there as a free agent.
From Cleveland, right?
Yeah, because he bounced.
Right, he bounced over there, but they built around Darren Williams. And then, you know, obviously, you know, back in the day with Karl Malone and John Stockton, they built them through the draft. And so I like this pick. You know, I know the young fella didn't really want to be there, but listen, I think this is a tremendous opportunity for him to grow, develop. You know, in some of the places I hear he wanted to go, I heard he wanted to go to Brooklyn, which hasn't been a really good organization.
Wizards was another one.
The Wizards hasn't really been thriving of late as an organization.
You want to stay close to home.
Yeah, but sometimes that's not what's best.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is going to be a great place for him. I think Danny Ainge did a phenomenal job drafting because he drafted, what's my kid that came out of Florida?
The point guard?
The point guard. Yeah. You know, they drafted him too. Clayton, yes. And so I think they had the best draft moving forward. I love this kid's potential. I hope that, you know, something doesn't persuade him or agents to say, hey, we don't want to be here, and thinking that the grass is greener on the other side. Because I've seen players that's done that, and it hasn't worked out. I think Utah's a great place. I think it's a great run organization, and you should think twice before trying to decide whether you want to be there or not.
Yeah, there's certain things that kind of worry me a little bit in terms of he says that he didn't know that they had interest.
Happens, though.
Yeah, but Utah wanted him to work. There was a bunch of teams that wanted him to work out that he wouldn't work out for. So either there's a disconnect between him and his team where he's not being forthright in terms of what the situation was. I got to ask you, I like, for me, you're right. Danny Ainge took the best available player.
As he should.
Right. I'm just wondering how because you've got much more experience with Danny, what do you think of the fact that this kid, by reports, didn't want to be there and Danny didn't care? He's like, I'm going to take the best player and we'll figure it out.
As a GM, your job is to try to collect the best assets. And say like they figure out, oh, maybe he shouldn't be here. That's a great trade piece right there. There's so many teams that want that kid to where he can package him up and possibly bring in an all-star.
No.
So, like, that's my thinking, well, I'm going to get the best piece right here. I don't care you want to be here or not. This is the best available player at this slot. I'm taking him.
Honestly, when they took him, I thought it was to trade him to the Washington Wizards.
So now you get leverage. Yeah.
For their pick and more, because I know Washington wanted to move up to get this kid. So maybe in the future you still have that. So it just feels so very Danny Ainge-ish just to say, I'm going to do what I think is necessary, and you know what? We'll figure out the feelings later.
Yeah. You know what? When people get drafted, a lot of the times they don't want to go to certain places until they get drafted. And
I didn't want to go to Boston.
Exactly. And then you realize at the end,
oh, this was the place for me.
I'm getting ready to get a check. I'm good. I'm going to settle down because it's so much that goes on, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning when you're getting ready to get drafted. So many people telling you, you're going to go here, you're going to be the third pick, you're going to be, and then all of a sudden, a team takes you out of nowhere and you're kind of disappointed until you put that hat on. Yeah. And once you put that hat on, and it's all good, then at that point, you're like, I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
When did you embrace Boston?
Man, you know, I guess.
You were mad that you fell.
Yeah, I was pissed that I fell. And like him, I didn't know they had interest in me either. Like, because I didn't even work out for them at all, talk to nobody from the organization. But like, you know, I remember getting there the first week. The first week I was there, I met Red Auerbach, and I was like, damn, that's Red Auerbach. You know, he had a cigar and everything. So it was just like, okay, my eyes got wide. I was like, man, he was like, Paul, come here. He called me over. I didn't even know he knew me. Man, I remember sitting down talking to him, and I was like, damn, you know, I'm seeing the former players. I'm seeing, you know, Cedric Maxwell. I was like, damn, you know, as much as I didn't want to be here, this is, you know, I'm a historian of the game. And I respect what Boston brought to the NBA as far as, like, the foundation of the NBA and what it's become. And so I was just like, man, this might be all right. You know, and it was just like, you know, this is tradition over here. You're looking up at the banners. You know, this is what got me into basketball, watching Celtics versus Lakers. Okay, I'm with it.
Well, it all worked out.
It did.
Coming up, will Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers be must-see TV this fall? That's next on Speak. And don't forget, you can check us out every day on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Titan University 2025 is in full swing down in Nashville. One of its leaders, George Kittle, went on a local podcast to talk about how long he plans to play in the NFL. Speak up, Kittle.
Literally until I don't have fun anymore.
Till the wheels fall off. Yeah. He's a wheels fall off guy.
Yeah. Or if Claire looks at me and goes, you kind of look like shit out there, you should retire. And I'll be like, all right.
That's probably how it'll happen.
Yeah. That or, yeah. I don't know. I think if I get to like, I'm 35 and it hurts to get, like, it hurts just to put pants on in the morning, I think I'll be like, this isn't that much fun anymore. And then I'll have a conversation with myself. But no, I'm feeling great right now.
Shout out to the boys. How close to the end of your career did it stop being fun, Key?
Probably it stopped being fun sort of after winning the Super Bowl because I had to deal with Gruden. So he took that. No, I'm going to keep it a buck. He took.
He stole your
Yeah,
joint.
but I got it back when I got traded to Parcells back in Dallas. Because if I would have been there with him, one of us was going to turn into something it shouldn't have turned into.
We have the video of
Because
how he stole
stop.
happiness.
It just certain things. It's like I can still play, but when you are dealing with somebody that you don't want to go to work with every single day, it doesn't matter. I did anything to get out of the building, any and everything, because I just needed to get away from that poison. That's how it was. But then I got it back when I went to Bill. I was ready to go again.
Ooh, all right. So for me, when did it stop being fun? You know what? It's never not. It hasn't stopped being fun. As a matter of fact, I went on the basketball court and got some shots up yesterday. What made it stop being fun? What I had to do to get to the fun? You know, the game was the easy part, but the preparation, when that stopped being fun, like the waking up, the running, and the weights, and doing all that to get ready, like you wake up like, all right, it's 5 a.m. You know what, let me lay back down. You just lay back down.
Yeah, I didn't have that problem.
I was like, man, I'm tired. I don't feel like
He likes being able to still work out.
Yeah, I love going and being in the locker room with the
So it was
dudes
the
and having fun.
meetings?
It was a little bit of the meetings and stuff. You showing that picture?
Hey, Guru, how's the family? Hey, how you doing? My man.
No,
my favorite coach.
Paul, that was
my favorite coach right here. How you gonna explain this?
No, I'm gonna explain it
Guru
right
made
now.
you retire, but look, you in Carolina
after I
smiling.
cooked him, though.
Nah, I don't want to hear all that.
That's after I cooked
No, I don't want to hear all that.
I can smile
That
at
man
him now.
smiling. Yeah, Guru, not the kids. Hey.
This picture is diabolical, though.
Yeah, come on.
The side smile is crazy.
And he the reason you retire. I can't tell. I can't tell right. You looking dead in his eye. Y'all about to get one of them like. Man, it's good to see. Mwah, mwah. It's like y'all about to do that.
So we French now. Is that what you're trying to
Y'all
tell
give
me?
me that friend. He look like cheek to cheek. Y'all about to cheek to cheek right now.
You know, he got the grip on the arm.
Yeah, he over here. My man. That's my man.
I was happy that he couldn't sleep that night. The pancakes wasn't going down in that household the next day. I promise you.
That picture exists.
Man, that's wild. Talking about he talking about it wasn't fun, but you over here like, out of kids.
But when you wanted outside of him taking your happiness away, when you were ready to retire, like
I was in Carolina, and I just was like, you know what? I got an opportunity to go into television. I really don't want to play football no more. I did everything I accomplished everything I wanted to. I wasn't gonna never be the greatest receiver in the history of the game. So that was over with. Jerry, that you ain't gonna never catch him.
Right.
You know, so it's like, what's the point? I did everything I needed to do.
Well, someone who clearly has not done everything he needs to do yet in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, chose not to retire, signing a one-year deal with the Steelers. Pittsburgh's last Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, says he'll be tuning in to see how Rodgers does this season. Let's take a listen.
You know, you're going to get to see one of the greatest of all time play one more season. I think it's going to be, every week is going to be kind of must-see TV in a sense. I think that, opposing teams are going to, fans of football are going to be coming out, whether it's at home, on the road, because you want to get a glimpse of greatness one last time.
So, Key, do you agree that Rodgers will be must-see TV with the Steelers?
Yeah, for better or for worse. That's gonna be it. Like when I started looking when you started talking about that. So, if he stinks up the joint, guess what? We're gonna be watching to see him stink up the joint. People gonna hate watch. And if he's balling and all of a sudden there's a resurgence in his career, we gonna be all in watching that. So, in the end, I think he'll do just fine. But I started looking at the schedule. I'm like, you can't tell me people ain't gonna tune in September 7th against the Jets. They're gonna be watching.
We're gonna be there.
Then the Minnesota September.
You got the thing set up, right? You got
The jet?
the suite.
Oh, the suite. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the jet. I was like, okay.
Yeah, the jet too.
Yeah, we got
Jet
all
to
that.
the
We're
Jets
gonna
to
have
the
all
suite.
that. Yeah,
Mr. Jet.
No, we're gonna do the show from New York.
Yeah,
They got a studio in New York. So September 28th.
Tyler's in.
Tyler's in. September
Guys,
28th, though, Joy.
We gotta set up a producer cam. Like, I keep asking for this, but we
So
we gotta
September
do it.
28th, they play Minnesota. He played against Minnesota. He almost went to Minnesota. That's people gonna want to see that. Right? Now you drop down, October 26th, they got Green Bay.
Yeah.
People gonna tune in for that.
All the montages.
So everything, you think about those things and you start looking, you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna tune in. Must see TV. They also play Chicago on November 23rd at Chicago. They're going to tune in for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think about Aaron Rodgers, who's the next, like, OG after Aaron that's left of that generation? I mean, Russ is not.
Russ?
Sort of.
No, Russ.
Russ is what, 30? How old is Russ? 36 years old?
That's an OG compared to the other quarterbacks.
Compared to the other ones, but 36 and 41 is I guess, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
But, like, he was never in that vein.
level.
Like,
yeah. But
like,
that's what I'm saying. So,
I'm saying,
so
like,
it
Aaron
is Russ.
is really, like, yeah.
I mean, obviously, Aaron is at the 10th floor and Russ is on the 8th floor. But they both won championships.
Yeah. I guess Russ is the closest to that, but I think of Aaron as a little bit closer to the, Peyton, Brady, Roethlisberger kind of era, even though he's obviously younger than them. But he's closer to that era for me. But I mean, I understand.
Other than Russ, that's it, huh? They got to be the two oldest.
Kirk is probably that around.
Yeah, but nobody's
age.
talking about Kirk, like you said.
Flacco.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Flacco.
She's a champion.
I know, but
I'm talking about the level of Aaron Rodgers. It's absolutely going to be must-see TV, no matter whether it's good or it's bad.
Yeah.
The games that you mentioned will be absolutely marketed in a way that this is the final Aaron Rodgers matchup against the Chicago Bears, who he's owned. This is the starting of the season against the Jets, the team that he just left. This is, his matchup against the Green Bay Packers. Will have all of his highlights and montages. Like, for whatever Aaron Rodgers is, which is a lot, he is someone who at one point in his career was a spectacular watch from a football perspective. Now, if we're talking about what it's going to look like on the field, I mean, my expectations are not very high, obviously.
But you're going to watch.
I'm going to watch regardless because this is the Steelers.
Yeah.
But I think that he has the potential to have some moments. I already have said many times, I don't have major expectations for the Steelers this year. I think the ceiling is a playoff berth and maybe a playoff win. But as far as watching one of the greatest to ever do it in his, what we are assuming last year in the NFL, we're going to be tuning in.
Woo! This is absolutely must-see TV. Listen, these are two shows I'm going to be watching, Joy. Love Island and the Real QBs of the NFL reality show, starring Rodgers, Purdy because of his contract, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, and Shador. I will be tuning in to all of these guys during this show. So look forward. I'm going to have it on YouTube, boom, boom, Fox, everything, boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
I feel like that's a good graphic.
Locked in.
You could build that, though. So the Real Housewives of the NFL.
The Real QBs of the NFL.
The Real QB, sorry.
Starring Rodgers, Purdy, Jackson, Mahomes, and Shador. That's a good one.
I feel like you got to put Joe Burrow in there.
Man, he'll be in later.
He'll be an addition.
Yeah.
He'll be a new bombshell into the villa.
Okay.
Yeah. Tua before Joe Burrow.
I don't know. I'm trying to think the drama is.
Tua before Joe Burrow because of the drama. Tua, all of a sudden, he's a different dude now.
Interesting. You know what? Maybe this is our list. We're in list season. Maybe the list is our. Who would we cast for our real quarterbacks of the NFL?
That could be. That's something.
That's a good list.
That is.
Rodgers said that DK Metcalf was one of the main reasons he signed in Pittsburgh. The Steelers traded for DK Metcalf this offseason and signed him to a 4-year extension. But he's not the only big-name wideout in a new spot heading into this season. Deebo Samuel is now a Commander. Devontae Adams is now on the Rams. And former Steeler George Pickens is now with the Cowboys. So, Keith, you are the spokesperson for outrageous wide receiver behavior.
Stop!
You wrote the book. You have the book. It's right there.
You're going to have these people really thinking I'm like that, but go ahead.
How are you going to explain that? Which one of these guys will have the biggest impact this season?
As the new WRs coming in, switching teams?
Yeah.
I think it's Devontae Adams. When you think about Devontae paired with Tutu Atwell, along with Puka, Matthew Stafford, you put that group out on the field, they're going to put in some work. Now, clearly, you think about Deebo and Scary Terry once they get that deal done and get him some new money in there. And you talk about Stephon Diggs, which I don't think much of what New England is going to do with him. I just don't trust what they're capable of doing with him in New England. So I don't think he's going to have a major impact. One thing I know about Sean McVay, he puts the receivers in the right position to make plays and help the team. You know, and some of these other guys, obviously Deebo Samuels is, you know, a Swiss Army knife with Cliff Kingsbury and Anthony Lynn over there running things on the offensive side for Washington. So you could always say that. I don't know what Arthur Smith is going to do with Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And so is Devontae Adams. Here's a guy with 6 seasons of 1,000-plus yards. You know, he led the NFL twice with touchdown receptions, a 3-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro. So when you switch it, 3-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, when you just talk about the juice that he still has left, is a lot. You look at him the second half of the season for the New York Jets when he came over from the Raiders. After he got, you know, pretty much familiar with the situation in New York, he turned into a different player for them. And so I see Sean doing some wonders with him. That's why they allowed Cooper Kupp to leave, and they immediately signed Devontae Adams when he became available.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, Key. I picked the same one in Devontae because, you know, I'm a Rams fan. Of course, the brilliant McVay and the things he can do offensively. And when I look at these other receivers, he has the best resume, especially last year. He racked up more yards. He gets more targets. And I'm sure they'll create, you know, a lot of opportunities because you have Puka Nacua over there, because you have Stafford as your quarterback and McVay as, you know, the head spearing everything that comes with the offense. So, excuse me. Oh. So, yeah, it was a sneeze coming on. It went away. It went away. But like I said, yeah, for me, it's Devontae. And I'm sure him going to the Rams after what he's been through over the last couple of years will re-energize him. You know, when you go to a Jets organization that didn't fulfill expectations, he was with the Raiders that just kind of wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. And now you have, you know, the motivation, a team that you feel like can really fight for a Super Bowl. And so when you have that behind you, it really puts a battery pack in the players back in the offseason to really be motivated. And I'm going to see a more motivated Adams this year, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at the guys that moved in Debo, DK, Devontae, and George Pickens, Devontae had the best season last year, and he has the biggest resume. I would like to pick Devontae too, but just to keep it spicy around here, I do think that Debo is going to have a big impact.
No, he will have a big impact.
I think he's going to change a bit of how that offense looks. He provides a real physical presence for them. And, you know, they, as amazing as Jaden was last year, we expect him to take a step up this year, and having an option like Debo out there with you alongside a speedster and an incredibly talented Terry McLaurin, I think it's a great combination that will end up making big waves this year when we're talking about wide receiver combinations. And Debo is he's so versatile as a player that there's so many different ways that you can use him, and they have so much creativity on their offense because of the way that their offense is set up from a coordinator perspective. I think Debo can do amazing things. But yeah, obviously I expect big things from Devontae this year. I have no idea what DK is going to look like in that offense with Aaron Rodgers. So maybe it's great, maybe it's not, we don't know. And George, well, I think will have a big impact. You're still fighting for targets with CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. So we'll see how they end up using all these guys, but I think Devontae will have a big resurgence and play a big
the receivers that play with Matthew Stafford, they die and they go to heaven in a heartbeat. Yeah. I mean, that's just, you know, when you just look at them, because every time you look up and he's throwing the ball, it's like a handoff.
Yeah, he's about as pure as it gets. Man, in the league right now.
Good. I mean, he's really good. Yeah. Even though he's older.
That's why he's in the going to be in the 400 milli club. Sticking in the AFC North, Browns wide receiver Deontay Johnson gave his 2 cents about the team's quarterback battle between Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Joe Flacco. And he said, I think they're going to roll with Kenny. Johnson also said he's seen Pickett taking more snaps with the ones. So, would it be a mistake for Pickett to start over Shedeur?
Not necessarily. He's first one there out of the quarterbacks. They brought him in, right? And, you know, when you look at it, I don't know what they did in OTAs. I don't know what they did in minicamp. Training camp is coming up. He'll get the early reps. Shedeur can push him. But typically when you get the early reps, they start at some point, start focusing in on the season. They don't have time to mess around if you're not doing the things that they ask you to do at the start of training camp. And you're not out there just spitting the ball out, boom, 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 and making the coaches rethink once they go back in their meeting rooms after practice. And if you're not doing that, they're going to stay with Kenny Pickett. If Shedeur does that and I'm not going to make it very difficult, because I was going to say something else I didn't feel like hearing Paul's mouth, but make it very difficult for them to make a decision on the quarterback position. Now, don't start with me, Paul. A lot can change, though. I mean, a lot can change. If he's giving them everything in the classroom and he's doing it out on the field and then he does it in preseason, it could change their mind in a heartbeat. And I understand what he's saying about that, but he also played with Kenny Pickett in Pittsburgh. So, you know, he kind of sees it. He's been around the block. Now, I don't even know if he'll be there to even see it go through, though. That's one thing I can say about Deontay Johnson. Will he even be there to see if Kenny Pickett going to be the starter?
Yeah.
Wow. This is going to be one of the most unique quarterback situations, I think, throughout the season. I think they're going to be probably the only team that's going to use all the quarterbacks they have on the roster at some point. At some point.
They're using all the quarterbacks on the roster, they're going to be in trouble.
Well, that means you're not going to be not good
at all.
Not good. So you want to get a look. And I look at this as a season to where you can see what you got. So it doesn't matter. You know, you go with Pickett because he has the most experience outside of Flacco. You know, Flacco is there kind of like, seems like he's like kind of like a mentor, a guy that you can kind of lean on for advice or, you know, reads or whatever you need him to. So you go with the guy who's has the most NFL experience. You know, as the season go along, you want to see what you got. So you're going to throw guys out there at different times. So it's not a mistake. You know, I think Shedeur will definitely get his opportunities. The thing is, when you're not out there playing, you just got to stay ready. And, you know, it's going to be a long season. There's going to be ups and downs. And, you know, when you look at the schedule, this is a tough schedule for them just out the gate.
Man, they first 8
They
games.
can be 0-4, 0-5, they can be 0-6.
No, they can be 0-8.
That's what I'm saying. And at that point, you're going to be like, well, you know, let's see what we got. Let's throw Shedeur out there. Let's throw, you know.
Man, they can be 0-8.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a brutal schedule. But I expect them to beat the Bengals because, you know, the Bengals in the first few weeks.
4 games are really tough. Minnesota is...
But we don't know about the quarterback in Minnesota. I'm just thinking about the defense, and I'm thinking about Brian Flores.
Yeah, but it's a international game. And...
I guess,
you know,
if you look at it from that standpoint.
We'll see what the Steelers are by week 6.
I got them beating the Bengals week 1.
No, but see,
that's what the Bengals are.
You're looking at the actual teams in the schedule. All I'm looking at is the defenses that he's going to go up against, or whichever quarterback going up against.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking Cincinnati's defense, they retooling. But I'm looking at Baltimore, I'm looking at Green Bay, I'm looking at Detroit.
I'm also looking at
Minnesota,
how
Pittsburgh.
they're going to match scoring against these offenses. I mean, Kenny Pickett is going to likely be the starter. Outside of some...
They're going to be making vacation plans by the bye.
Man, they're going to get some headaches.
By the bye, it's going to be vacation plans.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it probably will be.
I mean, but look, they're in a crazy situation to be in. Like, to take 2 quarterbacks in the draft, in the same draft, is already a very unique scenario to be in, with no clear starter between the 2 of them either because of where they drafted both of those quarterbacks. You have Kenny Pickett, who is not really a starter in this league. He's barely a bridge guy. He's more of a backup. And Joe Flacco's at the end of his career and is there to, you know, provide support and guidance. So it really is between, as far as a starter, Pickett and the 2 rookies. And I think it's just going to come down to what preseason looks like. Most of the time, we are not closely examining preseason quarterback play like that. This is going to be one of those teams where we're actually watching all of the game to see what these quarterbacks look like, and they're going to have to perform because that's going to be the test to see who gets it. But I believe that it'll be Kenny Pickett at the start of the season. How it will go throughout the season is a completely different conversation. Coming up, Cooper Flagg has arrived in Dallas, but will he be able to make Mavs fans forget about Luka? We'll answer that next on Speak.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
The Mavericks landed projected #1 pick Cooper Flagg last night, despite only having a 1.8% chance to get the top overall pick in the lottery. After fans were furious about trading away Luka, Mavs GM Nico Harrison feels their attitude changed after landing the first pick. Harrison said fans are, quote, feeling really good and optimistic about the future. Nico also said that fortune favors the bold.
Fortune favors the bold.
And defense wins championships.
Yes.
Yeah.
And salads?
Yes, and eating a salad now and then would be good too.
An apple a day. Paul, will Cooper Flagg make Mavs fans forget about Luka?
On May 12th, 2025, when the draft lottery was going to Dallas, that was the day they cheered. And the microscope removed from Nico Harris. Do you understand the just all, me, everybody on this panel, the fans, Nico couldn't even sit in the stands at the games after Trey and Luka. But on May 12th, when Dallas pulled that lottery off somehow, with the under-the-table money to commissioners,
Paul.
and got the #1 pick.
Here you go.
Everybody knew that Cooper Flagg was going to be the #1 pick. I mean, this was the most consensus #1 pick, in a couple years, I guess, Wembanyama. This was the Cooper's Flagg sweepstakes. So on that day, fans, it took some pressure off of them, and then from that day forward, they were like, all right. It was like some pressure was lifted off the franchise to like, all right, we lost Luka, incoming Cooper Flagg, one of the best players in America. We can live with this soft landing now, because it was heartbreak losing Luka, a guy who just brought him to the finals. I mean, the freaking finals, and you'd say, oh, you're not good enough. That's crazy. But anyways, that's another story. We'll see how that ends up in L.A. as he is in the offseason getting in shape. No more hookah.
For Luka?
Right now, we are in...
What is this hookah spot?
Oh, yeah, Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic Lounge. The Luka Doncic Lounge.
It's split, though, Joy. It's 50-50 right now, right? It's just split. You got some Mav fans feeling a certain way, and you got Luka Mav fans that's still disappointed in Nico for Nico's move that he made. You want to wait to see, or they want to wait to see what Cooper Flagg is all about. They know who he is as far as a Duke player and all the AAU and the things that he did to be the #1 overall pick. But if he flashes some greatness, because remember, like Paul just said, they was just in the NBA Finals with Luka. So they remember that. It's cool you got a dude that has a lot of promise, but even the promise isn't quite Luka. Because if you look at the ceiling for Luka versus the ceiling for Cooper, many people would say they're not the same, they're not even close. So you're still missing something,
right?
Which means that they got to win. So it calms the waters right now. It's not as much turbulence, like Paul said. It's like a little soft landing, and they want to wait to see what happens in October before they start going crazy again. So for Nico, he just better hope and pray that they get off to a fast start to just keep it all quiet. Because if they get off with some turbulence and all of a sudden AD goes down for a few games, just think about it. Just think about it. If something happens that
I'm telling you, by December, they're going to be having signs in the stands that says, we lost Luka, but now we got Cooper. Lost Luka, now we got Cooper.
Sound like Michael Irvin now. Yeah. But that may be true, though. They may feel that way as long as they're winning. If he makes a bad decision in free agency or whatever and sign the wrong point guard, we got a lot of time to see. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm hearing a lot of wishful thinking. Did you guys not hear them at the Dallas draft party? They were there chanting, "Fire Nico." They have not forgotten.
That's why I said 50-50.
And they are not
50, though, but
they are not going to forget.
Every year you watch the draft, right?
Yes.
And when somebody get drafted, some guys get booed.
That's in New York. That's in New York, not in Dallas. The guy that prior to them taking the #1 pick, they're chanting, "Fire Nico." They have not forgotten.
Fire Nico.
Fire Nico. And they are not going to forget. They are not going to forget.
But that's the
to your
Luka
point,
fans,
they
though.
were just in the finals.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that they were in the finals. It was that then Luka came back to Dallas.
Yeah.
And was in tears. And they're not forgetting that, Paul. They're not forgetting that. He wanted to be a Dallas Maverick, and he took him to the finals. And the shock of the guy that took them to the finals suddenly being shipped, not just being shipped out, being shipped out to the Lakers. They are not forgetting
look at
that.
About it, Joy, you look at his resume. I just was thinking about this. You look at, although he hasn't played an NBA game yet, you just look at Luka's resume. You've got to now replace that. Think about these star quarterbacks in my league. When a star quarterback leaves and then you draft another guy, they expect for him to do the same exact things that guy that was there before did.
As unrealistic as it may be.
As unrealistic as it may be.
Well, Luka was Rookie of the Year.
They check that box.
5-time All-Star.
Check that box.
Scoring champ.
Check that box.
5-time All-NBA.
Oh, he's not going to be scoring.
No, but that's what
that's what he's got to fulfill.
Expectation. He got to fulfill that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that was in 7 seasons.
But Paul,
I think Cooper can make them forget
just
about
gotta
it.
give him
But
hope.
he's softened the blow already.
Yeah, a little bit.
Them getting the #1 overall pick and being able to take him has softened the blow. But it is absolutely too soon to tell how this is going to play out. You don't have any faith in the Lakers this year.
No, I got faith. I just, with that segment, I didn't have faith.
Oh, it's back now?
It's back. He's back. Laker Key is back.
The delusion
I
is
don't
real.
think that the Lakers are completely out of contention this year. I mean, they do have Luka and LeBron James. And I don't know what the Mavs are going to be. I don't know. So what if the Lakers make it to the Western Conference Finals and Dallas doesn't get out of the play-in?
Oof. Rough.
Possible.
Yeah, then they're going to look to move on from their...
I mean, God forbid the Lakers win a title.
Oh, my God.
With Luka.
Forget it.
In the next 3 years. Because the reality is, as excited as everyone is about Cooper Flagg right now, his full potential is likely not going to be released upon the NBA for at least another 3 years.
And
like the development process for a young player of his potential, while he has a complete game right now, he still is only 18 years old. His body is going to change. He's going to adjust to the speed of the NBA, the length of the season, all these things he's going to adjust to. He's going to grow into a better player than he is. So while that's all happening, and obviously Dallas wants to win now because of the roster that they have, they're kind of in this, juxtaposition of expectations with a rookie. They had expectations with a 7-year vet in Luka. That's a very different space to be.
Yeah, but it is, but that's not the way they think. The fans aren't thinking that way.
No, I agree. I agree. That's why I'm saying I think it's too soon to tell if Cooper will make the Mavs fans forget about Luka. Because if the Lakers win a championship, which obviously we know that the Lakers have work to do on their roster, but just stay with me. If they win a championship or they have some sort of great run next year and the Mavs do not, or Luka wins a championship the year after, and the Mavs do not.
Well,
championships change conversations.
Luka has a part in this. I mean, I don't know if it's even championships, but if Luka comes back and he's fit, if he's in condition.
Well, he'll be in condition.
And stop.
He's already losing weight.
Oh, come on. You know what? I thought about that. I thought about the squats.
Let me get this.
You talk about the strength of
I know
Luka.
what Paul gonna say.
What does it mean to be
giving you 28 points a game. I already know what Paul gonna say.
What do you want?
Paul, you know exactly what we're saying.
15, 20 pounds lighter, now what?
It looks better.
What?
That's
No.
what they're gonna say. It looks better. Even if he's still giving us, because he will still give us his 28. If in the mind, people gonna be like, they're gonna make the narrative that he's in shape because he dropped weight, but he's still giving 28. They're gonna sell it. That's what they're gonna do. People like Rick are gonna sell it.
Coming up, are the Eagles a lock to return to the Super Bowl this season?
Told you this show was going to be a challenge.
That's next on Speak. Time to check in on our social life. A Canadian couple are such big Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fans that they named their baby after him in September. And it seems to have already paid off with SGA winning the regular season and finals MVP. So there was a spike in children named Keyshawn.
Oh, here, you want to read this?
Because of you.
I got it all right there for you. They sent it to me. You want to just,
So according to ChatGPT, which we love and respect, the name Keyshawn saw a rise in popularity in the late 90s and early 2000s, largely influenced by Keyshawn Johnson.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
An NFL wide receiver who was the first overall pick in the 1996 NFL draft.
Yes, that is correct.
His fame brought attention to the name, especially in African-American communities.
Yes, that is great.
Around 97 to 2001, it ranked in the top 500 boys' names in the U.S.
You hear that? You know what I mean? Give me that back, Joey.
Our co-host is famous. Do you think we'll see a spike in babies named Shai, like we did with Keyshawn?
Trying to figure out what community, though.
With Shai?
Yeah, because what was them?
Stop, Paul!
I'm saying, though, yours was influence on the African-American community.
In Canada, for sure. The Canadian, for sure.
The Canadians?
For sure, 1,000%. Okay. 1,000%. And if he continues to do what he's doing,
I'm trying to think,
that's going to spike up.
Shai can be any race, actually.
Keyshawn? So you trying to tell me ain't no white Keyshawns? Is that what you trying to tell me? Is that what you trying to say?
I don't know white Keyshawns.
No, I know a couple. I do. Yeah, I know a couple.
I'm trying to think. Shai.
But mostly
is versatile, though.
I do. You think I'm lying, Joy? I know a couple.
Call them.
I don't have them in my phone.
You said call them.
No, I do.
I'm about to Google this.
I know a couple. But it ain't
Where
just.
are they from?
They from L.A. But they
What
not
part of LA?
my community. Every now and then we do a little regentrification. So
we allow a few in.
But it ain't just
they mixed.
Hey, look, hey, Paul.
Nah,
that's true too.
I told you.
That's what we talking about.
But it ain't just Keyshawn. They be trying to say Keyshawn, but them Deshans and Deshaun, all that's the same.
No, you don't get to claim Deshaun.
Yes, I do.
No, you do not.
They just want to change it.
No.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
This is outrageous. You don't get to claim Deshaun.
Why?
No.
You didn't know no Deshans before you knew Keyshawn. You didn't.
I mean, are you making a point, Joy?
I'm just telling you.
No, I'm just
telling you.
No, because look, my daughter's name is Priyana.
Yeah.
Because of Rihanna.
Yeah. You ain't no Rihanna. Wasn't no Rihannas in the world before no Rihanna. Rihanna came, got hot, now Rihanna.
He make a good point.
It's the truth, though. It's all good.
You're taking credit for Deshaun.
I'm taking Deshaun, Deshaun, Dushan, all them. Because it's a Dushan out there somewhere.
It's a Dushan.
No Sean, like no Sean Moreno. I take that. That's mine. That's my credit.
You got a point.
Yeah, come on now.
You got a point.
All right, I'm going to let you have it. Switching gears to football, the Eagles are favorites to win the NFC and return to the Super Bowl this season. Tight end Dallas Goedert reworked his contract to remain in Philadelphia because he wanted to stay with the team and win another championship. So, Dushan, what percent chance are you giving the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl?
50%, which is high. I mean, but that's about right, though. I would say 50%. Anything higher than that, because you never know. They got the Commanders in the division. Mm-hmm. You got Green Bay, Minnesota. We don't know yet. Chicago, we assume they'll be better. San Francisco going to bounce back. The Rams is going to always hang out and hang around. So when you start just thinking about the conference, and they got a target on their back. But I strongly believe that what they were able to do in the offseason, getting rid of some guys, having young guys. The great thing about Philadelphia and what they've been able to do is play these younger dudes that they drafted, the Cooper and the Jeans, all those types. They played them. So they have the experience. So now you can let other guys go and just insert them into the lineup, And so they're going to be a tough out. There's going to be a lot of that, what Kansas City kind of went through early on. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be, because look, they've already been to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. Think about that.
Yeah.
And they've only gotten better. and those younger guys are playing a lot more. So I got them at 50%.
All right, so what percentage do I have? So these are my contenders: Philly, Washington, Bills, KC, Baltimore. These are my 5 teams that I say, all right, these teams can definitely win the Super Bowl. And I put percentages on all of them, but Philly has the highest percentage, although I am pulling for Washington. I give them a 33% chance because I have 4 other teams that's in the mix.
Well, the Detroit Lions are plus 475 within the division. I mean, within the conference to make it back to the Super Bowl. Not win the Super Bowl, to make it back.
Who?
The Detroit Lions.
To make it back to the
to make it to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
To make it to the Super Bowl.
I don't have the Lions in this mix. But Philly, because they produce the best defense, offensive line is incredible. The push-tush is unstoppable. Saquon Barkley is unstoppable. I mean, they just have so many weapons, and when I look at the other teams on this list, they have a lot of more gaps to fill than Philly, and they have the best odds.
And when you look at their early scheduling, as far as their schedule go,
it's tough.
No,
they got a tough schedule.
No, not at all.
What you mean?
No, not at all.
Philly? Is this the 2024 schedule that I'm looking at? Because the 2025 schedule is Dallas is going to be competitive.
They own Dallas.
At Kansas City.
No, their first 5 games are tough.
That's what I'm telling Key.
I don't think their first 5 games are tough at all. I think
These
when you talk about the
they
Dallas,
playing against 4 playoff teams.
You're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, Kansas City. It'll be tough in Arrowhead. There's no question about it. But I think they kind of feel good about Kansas City beating them the way they beat them in the Super Bowl.
Okay, but that's still a tough game.
No, I'm not saying they're going undefeated, but it's not to the point where they can't be over 500. They got the Giants twice, okay?
I'm just saying the first 5 games, you've got Dallas that
they got all playoff teams.
Back again. Kansas City, who's in the Super Bowl with them. The Rams, who were 1 play away from going to the NFC Championship game.
I don't love Tampa Bay like that.
I mean, I don't love Tampa either, but they're a good team and a playoff team.
Yeah.
And then the Denver Broncos.
Tough schedule was Cleveland's schedule at the top.
Well, that's because it's Cleveland. Like I don't think that I think that the Eagles will start fine. I'm just saying that they do have 5 good teams to start the season.
They do have 5 good teams, but when I'm looking at this schedule, they come to the Rams. Kansas City's gonna be tough, the Super Bowl. I don't love Denver like that. Denver's cool, but I don't love them like that. Then they got the Giants, Minnesota Giants.
Yeah, after that is different. But the first 5 games
if they go 3-2 in the first 5,
yeah, they're fine.
They're fine.
Coming up, the Celtics added a young player to their roster last night in the draft after trading away 2 big names. We'll check the vibes in Boston and around the league after the draft last night. Next on Speak.
Yeah, I need that Deshaun. Where you at? Give me that. I'll take it all.
Choice Hotels gets you more for your money so you can maximize any road trip. Like these road trippers making waffles and eating fresh fruit in their natural habitat. The breakfast area at a Comfort Inn. I just love seeing a vacation maximized in the wild. Check into more. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Welcome to Club Speak, where the draft vibes are always first overall. Thanks to Keyshawn. Fight on. Did I do it right? Fight on. Let's check the vibes of some NBA teams after the first round of the draft. We'll start in Dallas, where Cooper Flagg was drafted with the first overall pick, as expected. Mavs GM Nico Harrison had an interesting response to drafting him after landing the first pick, despite less than 2% odds, saying, quote, "Fortune favors the bold." Well, Key, what are the vibes in Dallas?
We are back. That's what they feeling inside.
Back, baby.
Inside the building, the organization, the general manager, the assistant general manager, the president of the team. They feel we are back. Never mind the Luka thing. Get him out. We got a real Cooper.
What you got, Ray, besides some moves?
They're unsettled. How good is Cooper going to be? Who's our point guard? Is Jason Kidd going to stay? When's Kyrie going to be back? No, they are unsettled right now because they got too many questions.
Rick, come on, man. There's new energy in Dallas. The vibes are Luka who? They got the first White American #1 pick since 1977. Nico's job is safe. He can go back in the stands and sit comfortably.
Nah, he can't do that. I promise you.
No chance.
Not a chance.
He can't do that?
No.
He can go back in the stands and be cool.
No, he can't go back in the
He gonna have to
stands.
stand
Period. Stay in that tunnel.
Stay in the tunnel.
Stay in with
Right?
the overhang.
With the overhang. You and I on the same page.
Amen to that.
White
Hopefully
American.
Nico's on the same page too.
White
White
Americans
American.
since
Not
1977.
ancestrally white, but
American
white
since
American.
1977.
American
That's
white.
crazy.
The Vibes are a new era. There's
That's gonna be a new
lots of
paint.
new expectations.
Ancestral.
Ancestral white.
Y'all.
Let's head to Boston.
Ooh, let's head to Boston.
Home of some immigrant ancestral whites. The Celtics drafted guard Hugo Gonzalez from Real Madrid last night. But Boston has been making noise all week. Championship pieces Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis are gone, replaced by Anthony Simons and George Niang. So, Paul, what are the vibes in your city?
The vibes in Boston, you know, we all got iPhones or Androids, whatever you use. And ever so often on our phones, we're outdated. But the vibes in Boston, we're waiting on our new update. We're waiting on our new update right now. We're just trying to figure it out. It may be a transition year, it may not be. We still waiting on that update, though. On the first download, and you know, this might take a while to see.
What's the transition year for sure?
Rick?
Vibes are somber. 2 months ago, they were aiming at a second title. Now,
they're so dramatic.
Now they're a yard sale. Who wants Derek White?
Don't try
Drew
to tear us
Holiday?
apart. We still got our core.
We got any takers for Jaylen Brown?
No, that's not true. They still there.
What's the new owner? What's the owner's name? What's the owner's name? They just bought the
Pete,
team.
what are the
team.
vibes?
Wick just sold the team.
What are the vibes?
The only owner.
Rebuilding. They rebuilding. That's the vibe. They getting ready to. They done already moved on from 2. They now floating Derek White out there. Hey, Lakers, you want to do something with him? Jaylen Brown.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, Jay? You wanna move out? Well, I'm not trying to do anything.
Nice like this.
I ain't trying. They rebuilding.
They trying to break up the band, huh?
It's already broken up.
Nice like
They already sold the bass player.
I wonder if it's somebody pulling
Drummers in Atlanta.
I wonder if it's somebody pulling a Paul move in Boston where they gonna get rid of a few, players that was there.
Jason Tatum from his hospital bed.
To say goodbye. Paul was worried about this when we first started talking about this, that things were gonna get broken up.
Yesterday.
Oh, come on, y'all. My ears.
Let's head to Utah. The Jazz are the 5th overall pick, but were able to draft a top 3 talent in Ace Bailey. Utah didn't need to see a workout from the Rutgers star to pick him, even though Bailey had, quote, no idea the Jazz were planning on drafting him. Rick, vibes in Utah.
Defiant. You don't want to be here? We don't care. We're still going to pick you. We think you're the best player. We'll work it out later. But this is so Danny Ainge. In a way, I love it. He's like, you know what? I hear you, kid, but we think you're the best player, the best available talent. We're going to go ahead and take you.
The vibes are they absolutely nailed it. They potentially drafted the Rookie of the Year. Now, I think it'll be Cooper Kupp, but this guy is going to be hot on his heel. I mean, Cooper Flagg. But this guy right here,
Many Coopers.
no, listen, he's gonna be right on his heels for Rookie of the Year. And I watch in Utah, they're gonna give him an opportunity to go. They nailed this draft.
The difference between Utah and Boston's rebuild, because Boston won a championship and it's a money situation. Utah, on the other hand, they trying to rebuild so they can get back into a deep playoff run and be that team of the past when they had the Donovan Mitchell type over there. That's what they're focused in on right now.
Yeah, great minds think alike, because I also are saying that the vibes are rebuild. I said rebuild, you said rebuilding.
Tomato.
Where are our tomatoes? Let's finish up back here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the vibes in LA.
Yeah, let's find out. Oh, look at that.
Go.
Ooh,
That's a lot of plates.
1,000. That's 1,000.
That's a lot of plates. 1, 2,
He gaslighting
4,
us.
5, 6, 7, 8. Is
That's
that 8 plates on both sides?
use of that term.
I don't know. He gassing us.
Hitting you with
That's
this one.
not either.
That was AI, by the way.
Hitting you with this one.
Yeah.
Back in the first round.
Am I done? Am I done
Traded
yet?
up the 55th to 45th overall pick. Tonight's second round. Key, where are the vibes in LA?
Brighter days ahead.
Oh.
That's what he's showing you right there. He's giving you this, brighter days ahead. He giving you that. Brighter days
This is
ahead.
as far as Key and I got.
Yeah, he gonna go there. But in the end, he gonna be all the way downhill, y'all. Bam! He going all the way down. Bam! He gonna get y'all exactly
Not
what
in
y'all
these
hating
deals.
on.
Absolutely not. Rick?
As usual, they're delusional. Now suddenly Luka Doncic is going to be in shape. Now suddenly the Boston Celtics, who haven't made a trade with the Lakers in 20 years, are going to send them Derek White and Jaylen Brown, and they're going to make the Lakers back into a championship
We're gonna give
team.
you Rui and Austin Reeves.
Delusional.
The vibes in LA, listen, this is a team that was number 3 in the Western standings, got whooped in the playoffs. Whooped that trick. The Lakers got the whooped. They got the buckle. The vibes are June gloom in LA. They did nothing to get better. They are the same team that got whooped. And they didn't get better this summer, so I see nothing but gloomy days in LA.
Let me ask you a question though, PP. Who was in the finals the other day?
OKC. And yeah.
Okay.
Where you getting at it? We got hurt. Y'all was healthy.
Y'all the same as
y'all got whooped with the buckle.
Y'all went home.
Minnesota gave y'all the buckle.
Same. You went home. Paul, y'all went home.
Not the buckle.
CJ Stroud stumbled a bit into great Peyton Manning has come to his defense. We'll react to what Peyton had to say about rookie quarterbacks next on Speed.
They got that buckle.
Not the buckle.
Well, y'all.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
CJ Stroud set the league on fire as a rookie in 2023, but took a little bit of a dip in his second season. However, he still led the Texans to the postseason, and Peyton Manning recently came to Stroud's defense. Let's take a listen.
You know, everybody wants to judge right away. Oh, great rookie year. Second year, by the way, he went to the playoffs in his second year. It was 22. Let's be careful saying it was a down year, okay? I didn't win a playoff game until my 6th year.
Key, are we too harsh on young quarterbacks?
No, I don't think so. Young quarterbacks got to step out on the field right now. This isn't the olden days. Now, Peyton Manning, obviously.
The olden days?
Yeah, olden days. You hadn't heard that in a long time, huh? Peyton Manning was an outlier, though. I mean, you know, you knew that Peyton Manning was going to be Peyton Manning. C.J. Stroud, there was question marks of whether or not he was even supposed to be in the position that he was in. But when you are inserted into the lineup, the expectations grow. When you give us something, like you gave us your rookie year, we expect the same things to continue, regardless if you're a sophomore or not. I never thought he was in a sophomore slump. I expect for him his third year to go out there and do the same things with a healthy receiving core that he did his rookie year.
Huh?
I do believe we are pretty harsh on young quarterbacks because when I look around the league, you know, they definitely have the most expectations, especially top picks. And we don't have the patience because when they don't come out and fulfill expectations in like the first 3 years, a lot of teams move on from them. You know, when you look at guys like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Zach Wilson, and even as recent as Bryce Young, who got benched. And Keyshawn said he probably won't see another starting job ever again, but then came along later that year, showed that he was worth the starting job. So I think it's just because it's the most pressurized position because you do have high expectations for young quarterbacks. And I think a lot of times these teams move on too fast. You know, some develops fast, you know, a la Jaden Daniels, and some take times. A la, like Peyton Manning said, he didn't win until his 6 years. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, look at these guys. They're thriving now.
But the difference with that, what Peyton was talking about, Peyton Manning went through a hell of a conference and a hell of a division. His coach wasn't going to get fired after 3 years. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, the coaches are going to get fired after 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely...
So you got to get them going.
It's definitely... It's not the olden days. It's definitely changed, the expectations have changed, the coverage has changed, the media pressure has changed.
Yes.
So, there's just more of everything, and the expectations that you should come in right away, especially now that we are, even just the way that we consume college football and the stars that these guys are coming out of college and the money that they're making in college, the commercials and all that stuff adds to what we expect to see from them right away. I think we're way too hard on young quarterbacks. It's an incredibly difficult position to play. There's a reason why we put all of the pressure and all of the expectations. It's the win-losses on the quarterbacks. It's the reason why they make the most money. It's the reason why we talk about them the most, because they are mostly responsible for the success of your team. If you don't have a quarterback, we don't even consider you to be a contender. So I think we're way too hard on young quarterbacks.
See,
it's a hard thing to adjust to do.
I don't think so. Coaches are under pressure to win. They don't have time, Joy, to be sitting around.
I understand that, but why
sticking a pacifier in them? It doesn't work like that.
Give them a passy. I'm just saying that we need to be more realistic with the fact that everybody is not going to be on the same timeline for success.
But they have to be. And the reason they have to be.
But the problem I have with that is it's not real. We live in this microwave society where everything is supposed to happen overnight, and sometimes it does, and sometimes it takes people longer to adjust to the speed of the game. It takes them longer to adjust to the speed of the defense, to be able to read these things, to be able to get on the same page with the offensive coordinator. There's a lot that goes into this.
And that should be sped up. Because you got to listen to what I'm going to get fired. I'm going to lose my damn job.
You're going to get fired, but that to me is what needs to change. If
it's not going to change,
if you have
a
rookie quarterback, to me, you're in the patience business.
No. You're going to get fired.
Okay, but we should not be firing them is the point. If you bring in a rookie quarterback, you should be in the business of being patient.
Every year as an owner, I go to Breakers in West Palm Beach for my meetings with all the rest of the owners.
God,
and
as I tell you,
they're walking around with their chests out.
I will be such a good billionaire. I promise you. I will
Jeff
be better
Lurie
at this.
is walking around at Breakers in West Palm Beach, smiling at the fools that did not win.
I understand that.
Those guys that did not win,
there are certain things that you need to do.
We're not going to be patient. Guess why? Because we ran Carson Wentz out of town. We won with a backup. Then eventually we moved on. And we won with a young quarterback, Joy, and Jalen Hurts. I'm walking through the hallway with my ring. You keep sitting on your quarterback, and guess what? We laughing at you.
Breeze didn't win a playoff game till his sixth season.
Yeah, but how long ago was that when he was in the league?
I understand. Coming up, BJ Edgecombe gave all the credit to his mom after getting drafted third to Philly last night. Stick around to hear what he said as the newest Sixer. Next on Speed. BJ Edgecombe had an incredible night getting drafted third overall by the Philadelphia 76ers. In a post-draft interview with Taylor Rooks, Edgecombe gave one person the most credit for his accomplishment. Speak up, BJ.
You see the emotions on my mama's face? She worked too hard, man. She worked too hard, especially for me, my brother, my little sisters, and my little brother. So, man, I'm just wanting to return the favor for her, man. Them long nights, I'm telling you, I lived off a generator. I ain't had no electricity. I lived off a generator for 7 years. Man, seeing what she had to go through to feed us, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but I don't even know, man. My mind everywhere right now, man.
Buddy Hill.
Key, what motivated you the most to make it to the NFL?
Get my mom a house. Really, to be honest with you, that's what it was all about. It was about really, you don't want to call it rescuing your family, but yeah, that's what it is. It's about rescuing your family, getting them out of that poverty-stricken community. That's really what it was. It wasn't about the stardom. People think it's all about the stardom. I'm like, no, it ain't that. It's being able to put a smile on your brothers and sisters in your mom's face. You know, them apartment buildings with them roaches crawling on the walls, that ain't it. That's just not it.
Did you got names for them?
For the roaches?
Yeah. Did you let them live?
Hell no. Let them live? Hey, Paul, you sit there, and I know you done been through this before. You sit there, and you got somebody at the crib, and you looking at the TV, and the joker go, and it stops. And it just stopped right there, and you act like you always see it. You just go like this. It just keep going, and you ignore it. Paul know what I'm talking about.
Paul's real quiet over here.
Yeah, I already know. That was my apartment when I lived on Normandy. Over there.
You're gonna have roaches living on Normandy. Come on, man. For sure.
Did you have a moment like this after you got drafted?
I think my moment was just like, you start thinking about, like, I think every black kid in the neighborhood just wants to take their mom out of poverty. That's what it was pretty much all about, because this was your number one fan. She didn't know you was gonna become what you became because she been taking you to the YMCA practices, so dropping you off at the boys club, doing all this stuff. Sitting in the car, like right, no air conditioning.
No air conditioning at all.
You know what I'm saying? So this is your number one fan, not knowing what this is gonna turn into, and for it to turn out like this, that was the investment, and this is like a way you repay.
My mother had a Malibu, Chevy Malibu, like station wagon that was supposed to be blue. The Joker wasn't quite blue. It had rust and it was all cracking on different spots.
Right.
And she would sit outside the baseball field in her car. Drop me off. I go to practice. She just sitting out chilling in the car with the radio that you had to push to
change the station.
Change the station.
They don't know nothing about station wagons today. You need to run those back.
Station wagon.
Coming up, Keyshawn's new digital series drops on Monday. We'll preview episode 1 of All Facts LA Legends next on Speak.
What about the couch seats?
So interesting because both Paul and myself are here from Los Angeles. We knew each other growing up. And I believe you are always shaped based on your surroundings growing up as a kid. Inner city athletes, they're just built different because it's harder. You're striving for greatness. You want to make something yourself. You want to become something special. And you learn along the ways because when you growing up, playing basketball like he did and like I did growing up, we was playing against basically grown men. And you just learn, so you're going to get roughed up. You're going to get beat up. There won't be any soft fouls. So you just try to carry it with you, and then eventually it evolves.
With the 10th pick in the 1998 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics select Paul Pierce from the University of Kansas.
There's a reason that guys that don't grow up with silver spoons in their mouths always become the great ones.
Paul and Key talk more about growing up in LA and Keyshawn's new limited podcast series, LA Legends, that drops on Monday. Paul, how did LA shape you as a basketball player?
Man, these streets was rough out here. You had to be tough. You had to be cold-hearted sometimes, and that's kind of what carried over on the basketball court and in my work ethic. It was like that. That's how the landscape was when I was growing up.
Facts.
All facts.
Yes.
No breaks. No breaks. I'm looking forward to it. Monday, All Facts, No Breaks, LA Legends drops. That's it for us. Oh, real quarterbacks of the NFL. That's a real fun.
That's a watch.
5 East.